don't think you have to put a label on something. And I think for people who are high-income people, it's too dangerous to get married.
The boys are going to grow up and they're going to leave you.
That's fine. Okay. I'm not lonely.
But you do.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss Married to Medicine, Season 10, Episode 8. And before we get into it, let me just quickly say that I am anxiously anticipating this reunion because I already know it's going to be a mess. Between all the drama that has been uncovered with Dr. Jackie making those ignorant statements from 3 years ago, Quad being kicked off the show, and now you have Sweet Tea and Dr. Heavenly going at it on Instagram Live. They were going for blood. And Sweet Tea, I hate to say it to you, but you brought a knife to a gunfight. Because while I don't care for Dr. Heavenly, I think that she's mean and just nasty and rude and very childish. One thing that you cannot deny her, she has a mouth and she takes no prisoners in an argument. And again, sis, you were ill prepared. But guys, without further ado, let's just get right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So now we open up the episode with everybody getting ready for the day. Mind you, they're still in Napa and it's their last full day in Napa. But anyhow, we see Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie having breakfast, and Dr. Heavenly says that so far the weekend's been pretty good, but she thinks that it's interesting that they voted people off the island. And Dr. Jackie trying to play coy and saying, oh no, well, they did it to themselves, and how friendship is all about being accountable. While that's true, we also have to be fair and just call a spade a spade. Dr. Jackie, you never really saw it for Quad. From what I remember, the episodes that I did watch earlier on, I don't remember Dr. Simone or Dr. Jackie welcoming Quad with open arms. Now, I saw in my last recap, a lot of y'all don't like Quad and you were glad to see her go, and you were upset with me for vocalizing my opinion. Like I told you in the last recap, I feel like I'm pretty balanced and pretty fair. And I even said that Quad is not innocent. And she definitely did bring this on herself, especially with that whole funeral resurrection event. She made it all about how they wronged her instead of apologizing. So I'm not acting like Quad is innocent. Two things can be true at the same time. While Quad can be insufferable at times, we still can't deny the fact that Dr. Jackie never saw it for her in the first place. So now they change gears in the conversation and Dr. Heavenly brings up Sweet Tea and she's asking Dr. Jackie if she thinks that they can elevate Sweet Tea. So Dr. Jackie jokes around that anything is possible, and then she goes on to say that she does feel for Sweet Tea because this group is not the easiest group to get along with. And she even brings up how her and Dr. Heavenly clashed when they first met. And that is true, but I feel like Sweet Tea is an easy target. And I think that we all know why, because Sweet Tea isn't polished. And she says things like, well, he gives me access to the money. And a quick shout out to my friend Chris. Please go to his channel, CDiggy1. Every time he imitates Sweet Tea and he says, access to the money, I scream. He does it so well. So now Dr. Heavenly mentions that she has to leave the trip early because she has to get back on a plane to go back to Atlanta because it's the day of her daughter's graduation. Now, we all know that Alora is graduating high school and she got accepted into FAMU, and that's where she's going. And a quick side note, doesn't Giselle's daughter also go to FAMU as well? I wonder if Grace and Alora see each other. And let me just ask you guys a quick question. Since we're on the topic of Giselle and Potomac, did you guys really stand on business and stop watching? Because on Twitter, y'all are saying something different. I see you guys are still watching the show and y'all are still tweeting me asking me if I'm going to review it. And then I saw that the ratings went back up. So let me know if we're not standing on business anymore. Do y'all want me to keep reviewing the show? Let me know down below. It is so sad that one show can be so toxic but still pull you back in. Isn't that crazy? But again, I digress. We're here to talk about Married to Medicine. So now we jump over to Toya in her room. She's getting ready for the day. And now we see Sweet Tea and Dr. Alicia come to her room. So she's telling them that she's a spa day planned for them. And it was so funny because everybody got the memo to dress in like athleisure. They have these cute all black workout sets. And Dr. Alicia shows up in this really pretty white dress. And they were like, girl, where are you going? Obviously not to the spa. And it's no shade to Dr. Alicia. She seems sweet, beautiful woman. But I keep forgetting that Dr. Alicia is there. And every time she pops up, I'm like, oh, wait, who are you again? I always feel bad when newbies come on these shows and we completely forget about them. I feel like Bravo is high-key dropping the ball on Dr. Alicia because I do not remember that she's on this cast. And I always ask, is she a friend of? Is she full-time? And if they do bring her back for the next season, please give her some adequate screen time. Because I feel like we have only heard Dr. Alicia say a total of 10 words. And we're 8 episodes in. So at this point, everybody's in Toya's room except for Phaedra. And Toya's giving them the itinerary for the day. And she says that they're going to split up in groups. It's going to be group 1 and group 2. So group 1's going to be Toya, Dr. Simone, Dr. Alicia, and Phaedra. They're going to go to the spa and get mud baths. And then group 2 is Dr. Heavenly, Dr. Jackie, and Sweet Tea. And they're going on a tuk-tuk tour. Now, Dr. Jackie was me. She was like, what's that? What's a tuk-tuk tour? And it's a tour where they get to see the sights, the vineyards, some animals. Dr. Jackie was like, I don't really do animals. And I was like, Dr. Jackie, I get that, but just try something new. It's not going to hurt. I'm sure you'll have a good time. So Toya goes on to add that she really hopes that Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie will come around and embrace Sweet Tea the way she has. Now, Toya, that's wishful thinking. And also, sis, you're low-key setting up your friend for failure. You know that they don't like Sweet Tea. And also, these Instagram lives in real time are showing that Dr. Heavenly has not embraced Sweet Tea at all. But Sweet Tea low-key deserves the reads because she tries it too. But again, we'll talk more about that just a bit later. So everybody splits up into their groups, and now we see group 1 at the spa. And remember, it was Toya, Dr. Simone, Dr. Alicia, and Phaedra. Now, the way nobody really wanted to get in the mud bath except for Toya, they were all like, this smells. Dr. Simone was like, no, thank you, I'll pass. Now, personally, even if the mud bath did smell, I love trying new things. I love the spa experience. And just knowing that it's a detox and it's good for your pores, good for your skin, I'll try anything. If it's gonna make you glow even more, like anything that's going to have benefits in beauty, like I'm down for it, okay? So despite the smell, I probably would have joined Toya in the mud bath. But you have Phaedra over there talking about, oh, I don't want that mud getting into my vagina because I don't want a smelly vagina. My vagina smells like a peach pie. I said, Phaedra, your vagina does not and should not be smelling like a peach pie. I was just like, girl, what are you saying? So while they're at the spa, we now see a parallel scene with Dr. Jackie, Dr. Heavenly, and Sweet Tea on their tuk-tuk tour. Now, I thought that the tour was cute. It looked fun. And I really loved how they stopped to have some lunch in the middle of one of the vineyards. And it was just so beautiful, so peaceful, so scenic. And that charcuterie tray was everything. Now, did anybody else feel like Dr. Jackie was being a bit condescending when Sweet Tea was joking around about how she calls the charcuterie board a coochie board? And Dr. Jackie was like, oh no, like don't do that, don't mess it up. And I just said, Dr. Jackie, girl, it's okay to laugh once in a while. It's just a joke. Like, I feel like Dr. Jackie is way too stiff. I've always felt that way. And it's irritating. It's like, girl, just get the stick out of your ass and just have fun. You're acting like she said that at a black tie event. Girl, calm down. You guys are on vacation in the middle of a vineyard having some lunch between 3 girlfriends. It's not that deep. Now, Sweet Tea started throwing shade in her confessional. She's like, I'm a millennial. These ladies are out of touch. They're like my grandmama's age. And besides us being black with vaginas, we don't have anything else in common. Now, Sweet Tea, while that might be right, my whole thing is, why were you dying to join this show then if they're just so out of touch and you guys have nothing in common? And also, Sweet Tea, with the way that you act, your fashions are very dated and you give very much small town girl in the big city. I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would think that you were close to their age too, because you kind of give like older, like much older vibes. And also, your husband is older than Dr. Heavenly. Isn't Dr. G like 56, 57, 58? So you shading them about their ages, it's like, okay, girl, but you're with somebody who's older than the women that you're shading. And every time they talk about Dr. G, I always think about how Alexander Rogers calls him Stuart Little. I scream every time. So now we jump back over to group 1 and we see Toya, Dr. Simone, Dr. Alicia, and Phaedra just lounging by the pool. They're done with their mud baths and now they're just talking. So I think it was Toya or Dr. Simone who asked Dr. Alicia how is her husband coping with watching the kids while she's away. So Dr. Alicia says that her husband has newfound appreciation for her and she hopes that he makes it up to her on Mother's Day. So now Dr. Alicia shares that she believes that marriage should be a partnership and how growing up in a single parent household, she was told by her mom that she didn't need a man, and that spilled over into her marriage. And remember in the last episode where Dr. Alicia shared that when she would get angry at her husband, she would tell him that he's not a man. I was just like, girl, what? The way Dr. Alicia keeps talking about her husband and how he is and how she feels and how they both have opposing views on things, I'm like, y'all might need to get some counseling. And a quick shout out to all my happily married subscribers who let me know in the comments in my last recap that marriage is easy when you're with the right person. I said thank you for the good news, because the way some of these folks act, I'm like, nobody signed up to be married to have an all my life I had to fight story. I know that's not what I'm signing up for. And I saw a great example, my parents. So yeah, I'm just not any believer in struggle love or getting with somebody that I feel like, what the F happened? You know, like that's just not my ministry or my portion. And y'all had me screaming on Twitter when you were like, it all makes sense. Dr. Alicia's husband is giving her a time because he's Nigerian and he was born in Jamaica. Say no more. And the way I was screaming. The way a lot of these women, especially Toya, treat singlehood like it's a disease. It's just like, damn girl, you must have been miserable when you were single then. Because the way you act now, like, a woman can't manage if she's single, it's really crazy. When you and Simone were asking Phaedra if she would ever consider getting married again, and Phaedra said, no, I don't think so, like, I'm good. And then Dr. Simone talking about, oh, really, Phaedra? Like, are you serious? You wouldn't ever get married again? And Phaedra said, no, I'm good. Like, I don't think that it's worth it, especially as a high-income individual. I don't think that we need to label things. Now, y'all know how I feel when it comes to rich women dating and marrying men. Y'all know I am very traditional about that. I feel like it does not work when the woman has more money, power, status, influence, and the husband doesn't. I feel like anytime it's role reversal where the woman is a breadwinner, you can bet your last dollar 9 times out of 10 that that marriage will not work. So when she said that she's not really game to get married again and how it's difficult being a rich woman, I said, yeah, I understand. I get it. And that's the reason why Phaedra's marriage to Apollo didn't work out, because she was a breadwinner and he didn't have a job. Every season on Atlanta, she was talking about, oh, he does this, he does that. Then one season, she said that she had no idea what Apollo did for a living. It was clear that she was trying to prop him up so that he didn't look like a bum. And Apollo didn't seem like he was into her at all. It gave very much he married her because she was his meal ticket. That's what it gave. So now Dr. Simone is grilling Phaedra even more, and she says, but one day your boys are going to grow up and you'll be lonely. And Phaedra says, well, I know that, but I'm just fine. I'm going to be okay. Like, I'm not going to be lonely. And Dr. Simone says, but the reason why you don't feel lonely now, it's because you're so busy. But one day you won't be so busy. And I said, Dr. Simone, who are you to decide for Phaedra that she won't be happy if she doesn't get married again? She can date and have boyfriends and be okay. And also, Dr. Simone, I would not be taking any marital advice or dating advice from you because I think that your marriage to Cecil is a hot mess. I honestly feel like you guys were better off getting divorced that season when he was off gallivanting with his female friend. I don't see any connection or any romance between you and Cecil. Honestly, you guys look like two great friends, two roommates who happen to be married. Everybody's not going to fall into despair if they don't get married or remarried, in Phaedra's case, but don't act like she's going to be this pitiful woman when she's older if she chooses not to walk down the aisle again. It's clear that you, along with the vast majority of the women on this cast, you guys value saying that you have a man versus saying that you're happy. It might be a jealousy thing too. Like, you might be low-key jealous of the fact that some women actually can stand on their own 2 feet and they're not defined by having a man or not. They don't base their self-worth or their self-esteem off of having a husband. And I also feel like that's low-key why a lot of y'all don't care for Quad, because Quad is doing just fine without being married to Dr. Gregory. But Phaedra says, look, I'm not interested, and I was married, I was in love, and things went left quickly. It was a really bad divorce, and that's the reason why I feel the way I do. So since they're on the topic of Phaedra's divorce, Toya goes on to ask Phaedra if Phaedra told her boys what went down between her and their dad. And we all know that Phaedra hates divulging any details about her life, especially when it comes to her divorce. So Phaedra says, my boys know about it, they read, and it was clear that they were all taken aback by Phaedra's answer. And Phaedra goes on to say that, bottom line, Apollo is their father, and she wants them to form their own opinion about him versus her saying anything. Toya goes on to say, well, for me, I usually answer questions before they're asked. And Phaedra said just as calmly, she was like, well, that's great for you and your household. Pretty much saying, Toya, shut the F up, don't question me. How you manage your household is one thing, how I manage mine, that's my business. I was just like, Toya, leave it alone. The fact that Phaedra even answered 2 of your questions, that's a big deal. I don't know why you felt the need to add that extra line in about, oh, well, when it comes to my boys, I usually answer questions before they ask me. And Phaedra said, none of that. Let's leave it alone. Keep it cute. I said, what's going on? Because you guys have me low-key siding with Phaedra Parks. And I never thought that that day would come. But here we are. So now it's the last dinner in Napa Valley. And I thought it was so funny because the way they were all wined out, they were all ordering margaritas. And did you guys catch when Sweet Tea said under her breath, ooh, that's expensive? I was just like, girl, what? Like, First of all, you're now married to a doctor. You should be used to this. Second of all, Bravo's paying for all these dinners. So I don't know why you're so concerned about the price when you're not even paying for it. Now, mind you, Heavenly left a few hours before. She is back in Atlanta for her daughter's graduation. So anyhow, we see Dr. Jackie bring up how excited she was to talk to Vice President Kamala Harris. And I just said the timing of this, when just 2 weeks ago, Dr. Jackie was exposed for her comments about how Black women cry wolf and are dramatic, and she had to do a whole apology video the day before Christmas acknowledging that what she said was wrong. So I found it so funny to hear her say how she's just so happy that she's talking about this with the vice president because it's a big issue for Black women. And I said, girl, you're part of the problem. Talking about Black women in pain or crying wolf. Dr. Jackie, the way you are about to be in the hot seat at this reunion, and the fact that old patients of Jackie's came on TikTok sharing their stories of how Dr. Jackie's bedside manner was awful, how she was really cold and unkind. Again, Dr. Jackie, you have a lot of explaining to do. Now, Sweet Tea saying that she's happy to be around all these ladies because they encourage her to take care of her health more. Now, I said, Sweet Tea, which one is it? Because in your confessional a few hours before, you were shading them, saying that we have nothing in common, they're out of touch, they're out of date, they're my grandmama's age, I don't like them. Now it's, oh, I just love you guys, I love being around you all, I appreciate you. Girl, make up your mind. Do you like them or not? And then we see Dr. Jackie joking around saying that next up is a baby shower for Sweet Tea. Now, we all know that Sweet Tea wants to be a mom and she does want to have a child soon. So Dr. Jackie says that for some reason, if Sweet Tea can't conceive, then she would offer to get her a surrogate. And Dr. Simone wants to know the whole process about a surrogate. How many years do you have to wait to get a surrogate? And I think Dr. Jackie said it's like a 2 or 3 year wait. Then she goes on to add that some families request that the surrogate doesn't have sex. And then Toya jumps in saying, oh yeah, I agree with that. I don't want nobody's sperm on my child's head. And Eugene didn't even want to have sex with me when I was pregnant because he thought that he would nut on the baby. So they're all like, girl, what? And I was surprised to hear that too, because one, Dr. Eugene is a doctor and he should know that that's not how that works. The way they changed that topic, Dr. Simone goes on to ask Toya what was the highlight of her trip. Toya says that the highlight for her was having 3 new faces join them in the group, Sweet Tea, Phaedra, and Dr. Alicia. I thought it was sweet when Phaedra jumped in and said, Toya, my favorite part of the trip was watching you win, seeing you shine. I'm so proud of you. And I think that more friends, more women need to say that to other women. I feel like compliments don't get passed around as much. And that is always nice to know that a friend or a new acquaintance acknowledges your success and your accomplishments. Like, that just really warmed my heart to see. Usually on these shows and in real life too, when somebody accomplishes something big, they have a new business endeavor, it's usually met with side eyes and shade. So to see Phaedra say, Toya, I'm proud of you. It was a great weekend. I love seeing you win. I love to see it. Now, it wouldn't be a group scene without them subbing Quad in some way or fashion. So Dr. Jackie says, do we all feel good about what happened this weekend? So Toya says, I have no regrets. Hopefully Quad will take out the time to see what she's doing wrong in friendships and do better. Now, Toya, I was not surprised in the least bit that you have no regrets. You never liked Quad. You were all too eager and all too happy to kick her out of this group. You couldn't even contain the glee in your face in the last episode. So for you to say, oh, I have no regrets, I said, girl, we know. Because you did it with no hesitation. So now Dr. Simone jumps in and she says that the writings were on the wall and how Quad should have seen this coming. Now, like I had stated earlier on in this recap, Dr. Simone never cared too much for Quad either. So to hear Dr. Simone double down on this, I'm not surprised. So Dr. Jackie jumps in to add that being accountable in friendships is important. People take their friends for granted. And I said, now, Dr. Jackie, let's not talk about accountability, because the way you refused to apologize to Buffy when you made that comment about her being infertile, you're not the most accountable. And also, Dr. Jackie, you've always been very smug. So I wouldn't go on and on about being accountable, because you yourself have not always been accountable. And the only reason why you held yourself accountable about these comments from 3 years ago, because the social media backlash was so great that you had no choice but to make a statement and give that PR apology. So Toya says that overall, the weekend was a success and it was a step in the right direction. And then we see them take a cute group picture and they all looked like they were dressed for different occasions, especially Phaedra. Phaedra had on this sequin dress. But now the ladies are back in Atlanta. We see a few short scenes. This scene with Toya asking Eugene to take her weave out, I thought it was cute. And I have to say that Eugene and Toya are definitely a great match. I feel like they really get each other and they really seem to like each other. And they definitely balance each other out. But I thought it was so funny. He was cutting the weave out and he was like, you know, this is actually like a date night. It feels very intimate. She was just like, a date night? But I thought it was a cute moment. And again, I low-key feel like Toya and Eugene might have the healthiest marriage out of everybody, right? I don't know. I feel like they do. I really feel like at their core, they really do love each other. He loves her and all her craziness, and she loves him. Now we jump over to Heavenly. She's in her closet. I think she was doing a webinar or something like that. I don't know what she was doing. But we see her daughter, Alora, come up, and she says, Mom, I'm going away to college, and I really think that it's time for you to reconnect with your sister. Now, again, y'all, when it comes to Married to Medicine, I'm not as well versed as I am with the Housewives because I only watch Married to Medicine sporadically, so I don't know everything. I do know that Dr. Heavenly and her sister have a strained relationship. I know that there was a season where Dr. Heavenly went back to Miami, like her old home, and it was something to do with growing up. She had a room with no windows or something like that. Am I right? Let me know. Did I mix that up with something else? But I do know that Dr. Heavenly's childhood wasn't ideal and the relationship with her sister wasn't good at all. But you could tell that Alora really is affected by the fact that her mom and her aunt aren't close. And she said, it's been heavy on my heart. And I really do think that the time for you guys to connect is now. So you could tell that Dr. Heavenly is a bit nervous. She's a bit scared. She's hesitant to reach out. And Dr. Heavenly says, look, girl, I'm 52. We've always been at odds. And we find out that their mom low-key pitted them against each other. And then when her mom passed away, her last dying wish was for them to be together. Now, I want to stop right here. How does that work? You pit your kids against each other, and then right before you pass away, now you want them to be close? What kind of sick, twisted logic is that? And I also want to know, what do parents gain from their children not getting along? Some of these parents are very sadistic because, again, why would you try to pit your two daughters against each other? They should be super close. And let me know if I remember this correctly. But I remember Dr. Heavenly saying that her mom would call her sister the pretty one, and she was the unattractive one, but she was smart. And that led to feelings of resentment and jealousy. And I'm thinking, how evil is that? Why couldn't you tell both of your daughters that they were both beautiful? Like, I couldn't imagine that. I can't stand when I see parents label each child like that. Like, no, let all your kids explore all the sides of themselves. It doesn't have to be that one kid is this and one kid is that, one kid is that. Like, that's so annoying to me. And my parents made sure that they did not do that with us. Like, it was none of that, oh, that's a smart one. Oh, that's, no. We were all smart. We were all good looking. We were all, we were all great. And if I have kids, I would never compare them or pit them against each other or label them saying, oh, well, you're the smart one. Like, no, that's not happening. And nobody else will ever do that to my kids either. Like, that's not happening, because you have aunts and uncles and cousins who will say some slick stuff. And they're like, oh, no, wait, what did you say? Like, not my kids. Don't do that over here.
No.
But Alora pushes Dr. Heavenly to call her sister, and Dr. Heavenly actually does it. Now, Dr. Heavenly calls, and the sister puts her to voicemail. I was just like, damn. But Dr. Heavenly left a nice message. She was like, hey, girl, I hope all is well. Just calling. I want to talk to you more. Call me back when you get a chance. And I have to say, I really do hope that Dr. Heavenly and her sister can heal, because that's really sad that their mom would pit them against each other like that since they were born. Like, that's really sad. And it also reminds me of the relationship that Kyle, Kathy, and Kim have with each other. If you watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, you know their backstory. I also feel like Dr. Heavenly's relationship with her mom and her sister, I feel like that has something to do with why she acts like a pick-me when it comes to men, and also why I feel like she can be so cold and so harsh with other women. Her mom pitting her and her sister against each other, so it makes sense why I feel like she's not a girl's girl. So now we get to the final scene of the episode, and we see Sweet Tea at a doctor's office, and we find out that Dr. Simone referred her to this specialist. So Sweet Tea's telling the doctor that she's been experiencing some pain in her ovaries, and she wants to make sure that she's okay because she does want to have a child. So the doctor tells Sweet Tea that she has fibroids and endometriosis, and I think she went on to tell Sweet Tea that she had cysts on her ovaries too. So it was just a whole bunch of bad news. Honestly, I felt so bad for Sweet Tea in the moment. And you could tell that that was not the news that she wanted to hear. But nobody wants to hear that. You want to hear that everything is fine and that you're good to go. Like, that would be devastating for anybody. And when I tell y'all, I am sensitive as hell. So I would have been in that doctor's office sobbing. Now we see Sweet Tea get an examination. And when she's done, she calls up Dr. G. She tells him the bad news. And Dr. G says, look, we're going to get through this. We're going to pray about it. Don't worry. Like, I don't want you to stress. And Sweet Tea is emotional. She's like, I want to give you this child. I promised you this child. And I want to be a mom. Now, I did see the discourse on social media. A lot of folks feel like Sweet Tea is playing this up for the cameras and that she most likely knew before she even married Dr. G that she had these health issues. Whether that's the case or not, I feel bad. Because when it's all said and done, I really believe that she's devastated because she really does want to be a mom. I really don't think that Sweet Tea is using this for a storyline. I don't think that she's that savvy to do that. Honestly speaking, I don't think that she's that calculated. I really think that we're seeing genuine emotion from a woman who really wants to be pregnant and be a mother. So I didn't see it as, oh, she's doing this for a storyline. I really did feel bad for her. And one more thing, I really do enjoy when we see the actual medicine in Married to Medicine, because learning more about women's health is important. So I love when they show these scenes because, again, I learn more. And it has me saying like, okay, you know what? I need to schedule my appointment. But y'all, that was the episode. That was my recap. As you guys can see, I had quite a lot to say. And like I had mentioned earlier on, are y'all really standing on business about RHOP? Yes or no? Because if not, then I might as well put my hat back in the ring and do a recap, because I'm not going to hold you guys. Seeing the clips and seeing how certain people are trying to ice out certain people, I do have a lot to say because my blood is boiling. And when you've been watching a show since season 1, you know what I'm saying. But if we are standing on business, then I'm going to keep standing on business. But if I see that those ratings spike back up because they did in the last episode, then I might as well give my 2 cents, right? But y'all, that's my time. Thank you all so much for watching. Y'all already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.